Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Warner, and welcome to the new vlog cast of the PeacePentagon Hub. The PeacePentagon is a conference and training center for progressive programs and sacred activism. The PeacePentagon is located on the beautiful Oracle Institute campus in Independence, Virginia, along the New River. And our Hub vlogs focus on the sectors of society where every day synergistic solutions are emerging to help us build a new world. Today, I'm doing a PeacePentagon Hub vlog on spirituality and religion within that sector. And with me is Joseph Rosado, who is a thought leader in this sector. Joseph is the founder of the Milagro World Center in Panama, where he sits today, and where Noel and I were blessed to be for quite a while for the last few weeks. Joseph's also the former guardian and was the first American to be the guardian of the Chalice Well and Peace Gardens in Glastonbury, UK. His life's path has been rich with experiences as everything from a restaurant owner to a baseball player, electrical contractor, husband, father, and a guide on many, many spiritual journeys, including one that Noel and I took with him and his partner, Nina Patrick, to Glastonbury a number of years ago. So welcome, Joseph. It's great to spend time with you today.
Oh, thank you, Bob. It's always a pleasure to see you as well.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to spend a few minutes with Joseph today exploring the significance specifically of personal transformation, whether that be via attendance of retreats or evolutionary or even traumatic life experiences. So we're going to jump right in and start with Joseph, you sharing from your experiences. You've facilitated many spiritual and transformational retreats, sacred journeys, and experiences for people. Share a little bit, if you would, about why you believe personal retreats are important for human growth and for our life's evolution.
Well, thank you, Bob. Yes, it's been almost 20 years of doing sacred retreats in power spots, power places, as we call it, places of peace and power. And the importance of these retreats is for us to not to slow down so much, but to stop and use the word stop and allowing ourselves to visit ourselves at the same time. And all the thoughts that come in, how do we deal with those? They need to be, and this is a space to work on these particular, whether it be good things or bad things or whatever. You know, the bad things, we don't condone them, but we need to look at them and we need to know that they're there. And this is what retreats done. We go to power spots and places of peace and power. These places are ancient, they're thousands of years old, but the DNA is the same. It does kind of alter our DNA to a certain point where different old patterns come up, outmoded issues as well are up in the air, and this is the place to deal with them. So I feel that retreating, even if it's a daily retreat for 10 minutes, is of high importance. It could be a walk in nature, it could be a walk up the driveway, whatever. It's a time to get in touch. And that's, you know, I've written quite a bit on transformational retreats, and it would take us into an hour to talk about these things. But I think, you know, that's the little bit of it right now that I can leave you with at this point.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, you and I spoke last week when we were down there at the Milagro World Center about that different ones of us have experienced our, I'll call it our awakening and our spiritual path in many, many different ways. Some of us, some have been on the journey for many, many years, many decades. Others of us, like Noel and I, just 10 years. And some have found significant points on their journey, their spiritual journey, that have been major milestones, checkpoints, and boom, something shifts for them. Others of us have just found it to be very evolutionary, that we've proceeded through our growth and our awakening. And but for others, there's something traumatic that might happen. And you recently experienced what anyone from an outside view other than your view would have declared as a very traumatic experience. You just over 2 months ago had a situation where a car got loose from you and it actually ran over, a SUV ran over your face, your sternum, and across your chest. And nothing short of a very traumatic experience, as any of us would describe that. Would you share a little bit about your experience and what that meant to you from in your spiritual journey? What you have, I mean, it's literally a miracle that they were saying you're going to have all kinds of surgeries, and literally a few days after that, you were back home again at the Milagro World Center. We're all just very happy that you've decided to continue your journey on Earth. But tell us about what that experience has meant for you in your reflections on your spiritual journey.
You know, Bob, we can, sometimes people will say, well, I had a body experience, I had this, I had that. And it was a near fatal experience for sure. And I look at it as a reorientation, looking for new ways, new ideas. That's it. I don't really get into, I mean, I do still have my little bit of trauma that comes every now and then from that. It was a very traumatic experience, but immediately, even in ICU, I was clear-headed. I felt my spirit was speaking. My body was hurt. It was broken. Plenty of ribs, the sternum, the clavicle was broken. I had a fracture in my head, my ankle. Yeah, anyone would say, oh my God, you know, I don't know how you're. No, but it was a miracle. And the miracle that I really focus on is the power of you, the power of our spiritual family. So we do that miracle call on Sundays, and the power of the miracle and our intentions. You know, Nina said to me at the hospital, these doctors are giving you some kind of medicine because every day it seemed like a quantum healing. And I said to her, no, the doctors are doing what they're doing, but to me, this is our family. Mm-hmm. With all the healing, the prayers, the thoughts, we believe in miracles. That's the bottom line there. There's nothing else to it other than the reorientation of saying, okay, this is the direction I need to go. This is the direction I want to go. It's for the betterment of humanity. It's not about healing a rib or whatever. No, it's about, it still stays even more so when you're given life like that again. What was your purpose before that happened? Hasn't changed much, but I tell you what, it's become a stronger feeling. It's become something that now I'm like bent to do this and to help humanity and the things that we were talking before. So anyway, that's the only way I can explain that. And you know what? I'm in so much gratitude for where I sit today and how I feel, and for all you guys. So that's it.
Well, we are blessed to have you still walking the planet, as I said. For us, for Noel and I personally, that which is large on your journey, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, about your vision for the Milagro World Center and other things you're involved in, and the small favors, the small, one would consider to be small, but it really isn't, but the human connection between souls, being able to be around the dinner table with you. One thing I forgot to mention is that Joseph is an amazing cook or chef, whichever category you want to put it into, but I'll tell you, every plate is a prayer at the Milagro World Center, and Joseph is the one in the kitchen overseeing that and hands-on all the time. And so those human connections of love, as well as the larger picture of your vision forward, have just been amazing. And you know, as I mentioned before, some of us have our journey of awakening and acceptance has been, quote, gradual, and others have had this traumatic event happen. Is there anything else you would share about for others of how others might hold their experience, whatever that might be, non-traumatic or traumatic, evolutionary or sudden?
Yeah, I would say stay centered in your spirit.
Mm.
Stay centered. Trust. Trust implicitly your intuition. If your body's broken, regardless of it could be mental trauma, it could be physical trauma. Any trauma is trauma. But if you stay centered within your spirit, you can get through anything at that point. I mean, I learned that from this last experience. And even Nina told me today, it was so clear in the ICU. It's like, my God, I couldn't believe. Well, that wasn't my physical so much, but my spirit was very clear. And that's all I can really say is stay centered with your creator, whatever that may be, and your loved ones. And make sure that all of that is embraced with love. Even the pain needs to be embraced with love.
Mm.
And we can get through anything. That's really what I need to share.
Well, I thank you so much, because I appreciate that for what it is, and I also appreciate it for what it is in this sector that we're talking about today, spirituality and religion, as it relates to all the other sectors of society, all the other sectors of the wheel of co-creation, be those micro communities or learning and education or science or communication or relationships, government, social justice, all of those things, the wisdom you've just imparted about being centered and about being centered in our grounded at the bottom and to our creator or creation above, the universe above, that serves us so well in all sectors of society. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about is something we chatted about for quite a while in the last couple of weeks while we were there, and that is your understanding of and your words of wisdom about the concept of conscious innovation. Those words can be sometimes, innovation we think of maybe as a marketing slogan for a tech company or something or other, or an energy company, and consciousness is something very different. You combine those into a concept of conscious innovation that I just loved chatting with you about last week. Would you share a little bit with everyone today about your thoughts?
Well, I think thanks, Bob. I look back to when I was a kid, and maybe I was 10, 11 years old. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have a way to communicate with our parents other than calling me out loud, come home, and I look at it now, and I look at that innovation that way. That's one piece of it. Then we look at evolution. Evolution's ever happening. It's always going. Evolution is there. And evolution really, for me, brings in the conscious innovation, because our evolution is to find new ways, find new ideas, better ways of doing things. And when we consciously innovate, when I say that, is we're innovating for the betterment of the world. And we need that innovation as well. And to sit and meditate or pray or even walk and think of how to innovate something that's going to be to the betterment of the world, that's conscious innovation to me. And putting my conscious into. Even creating a plate of food. It's the same way. You cannot put a plate of food in someone that's been tainted by your moods or anger or any of that. When you're creating you have to be clear. So you're really innovating every plate. Every plate is not going to look the same because you are actually consciously thinking about where you're going to put that next tomato or what have you. So for me, it's been a while thinking about consciously innovating. But I've been innovating for a long time because I'm a thinker. That's what I do. I've been an entrepreneur almost all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked a very short period of time for someone. And you cannot do that. And even if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that I'm, because I had a restaurant, I'm an entrepreneur. No, we're all entrepreneurs in a way. But many of us don't consciously innovate. And we have to look at that word closely because it's been taken in the Industrial Revolution and Apple and all of these other things. But no, let's bring that home a moment. And let's just put that to the side and say, every day in my way, can you tell me you're not taking a shower and you're not innovating in the shower? Yes, you are. You know, we just don't realize it. We're looking at the soap and what have you. But really, up here, there's still that. And that's part of evolution. That's part of evolutionary innovation, as I call it. We're not going to stop evolving. So why stop innovating? At some point, you're going to get to the point where you have what you wanted to manifest to begin with, and you're happy with that. Even then, even in relationships, the work needs to innovate as well. So that's my take on conscious innovation.
Thank you.
I can go further, but I think we'll leave it there right now.
I really enjoy hearing you talk about that and then applying it in my life, or witnessing, even just observing and witnessing how it is showing up in my life, and how true those words of wisdom are. So thank you for sharing about that. And it's wonderful to spend time with you exploring what your personal journey and the range of the experiences that you've witnessed in others when it comes to their conscious evolution. It's really been amazing. I want to make sure that we talk about the Milagro World Center there in Panama, and not just in Panama, because you do other things under that banner. In fact, you told me that it's in part a state of mind. So tell us about the Milagro World Center and what you and your partner, Nina Patrick, are visioning for there in Panama. And then also we need to let folks know the best way to get to learn more about it, to get involved, and how to contact you. So share some about the Milagro World Center. What's Milagro mean?
Milagro means miracle.
Ah.
Yes. A miracle at Milagro. So, yes, it's you know, and as I've mentioned to you, the Milagro World Center is not a location. It is a state of mind. We do many things on the internet as well. But it's always been my passion and my dream to have a center. I wrote years ago, 1998, I was asked by the trustees of the Chalice Well to put a vision for the Glastonbury World Center. I've carried that with me all these years, and I've tweaked it here and there, and it was very passionate about what we needed at that time. So that's 20 years ago. And to look at it now, it hasn't really lost a whole lot. It's still what we need. But the location itself really adds to a center, because you're looking at sacred land. Land is nature abound. It's life-changing as it is. It's thought-changing. It could change you from one decision to another in a heartbeat like that. So having the proper land, as I did in Glastonbury, as a Chalice Well, and watching people come in there, and their eye colors would change. They came there not to visit the well, they came there to visit themselves. And, you know, it took some time. I get very passionate about that, because there was thousands of people. It wasn't 100 people. It was 65,000 people a year that came there for 3 years. And, you know, I got a chance to really listen. And when I sit in this property, I see the people walking the land. I see the people going in to do yoga or do music or do prayer or do meditation. I see them getting a massage. I see them feeling good. My God, what's wrong with feeling good on that? You're learning, you're educating, you're innovating, you're doing all these things under the umbrella of a beautiful, beautiful property like this. That's how I feel at the Milagro World Center. And Nina has said it, you know, it's humanity's potential realized. That's it. That's what puts it into context here. And we do have a great potential here. And I'm a witness of that because of my healing, of the potential of the miracle, the potential of people putting their consciousness into what they do, their spiritual essence that comes up when you're in a place like this. You'll feel it, immediately feel it. So, yes, the Milagros World Center is a state of mind, but to have that state of mind and be in a paradise like this, which we have so many on this world, and in the hopes that we're not ruining half of these things, that's what the Milagro World Center is here for us. again, it's a dream. It's a dream that I feel we can manifest. It's a dream where I see people walking around with smiles on their faces. People who are hurting can be hugged, can be loved, can stay here, can find serenity, rest, good food, learn that life doesn't have to be a drag, so to speak. Yes, we're going to have our ups and downs in life, period. That's going to happen either way. What we have to do is pick which ones we want to deal with. We don't have to deal with all of them. And this place, or a place like this, will allow you to sort that out and say, okay, this direction I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. So that's what I feel the World Center here, the Milagro World Center, can offer humanity. And people like yourself visiting us as well, your education, all the wisdom that you and Noel bring to the table, it's enormous. You may say you haven't been in this a long time, but you don't have to be in the game a long time. You could probably get more out of 10 years than I got out of 20. It depends on who we are. So anyway, I won't get too long on that, but would love for everyone to visit. Come on.
Well, I'll tell you, we are walking testimony to that space there. The space that Joseph and Nina are on is sacred. It is beautiful. There's intention there for organic coffee produce and other organic produce, for casitas and individual accommodations. They already have accommodations to be able to handle up to 16 folks in retreat. More and more folks are coming to visit, check it out, check out the energy of it. The space, the buildings and whatnot have history in Panamanian history, and that is only that is only a glimpse of what that sacred land is, because all land is sacred, and it is now being stewarded. Joseph has been there for 7 years now. It's being stewarded in a way that is just amazing. The help that you have there, multi-generational folks, indigenous and Panamanians that are on the property, helping you care for the property in physical form, and most significantly, both their lineage and what you, Nina, and others of us that visit bring to the energetic expansion of that space is just amazing. So is the best way, Joseph, for folks to get a hold of you would be through the milagroworldcenter.com website, I assume?
That's correct, the milagroworldcenter.com, or you can email me at joseph@milagroworldcenter.com, or if you'd like to email Nina at milagroworldcenter.com. We're both here. We make ourselves available for you whenever and always if we can. So we'd love to talk to anyone that would love to just have to chat about what we're doing.
Fantastic. Well, super, super, super. It's been a pleasure to explore this spirituality. Yes, it is brief, but it is this exploration, a very focused exploration of the spirituality and religion sector with the PeacePentagon, and chatting today with Joseph Rosado. Again, the website to contact them would be www.milagro World Center. That's MILAGRO. Milagro means miracle. milagroworldcenter.com. So,
thank you.
To learn more about the PeacePentagon Hub, visit www.peacepentagon.net. There you'll find important action events and critical news that support our mission of protecting the truth, sharing the love, and following the light. And finally, if you're interested in volunteering for the PeacePentagon Hub, or living in a full-time micro-community comprised of cultural creatives, we invite you to contact us through the Hub website, or check out the Valley of Light community at www.oracleinstitute.org. So with that, Joseph, thank you very much for spending time with us today. We're blessed to be in your company. We appreciate your wisdom and sharing of your life experiences with us. And we look forward to seeing all of you again next week with a fresh vlog from the PeacePentagon.
No, thank you so much, Bob. It's been a pleasure, and peace and blessings to you and Noel, and all the wonderful work that you do as well. I'm one of your biggest supporters. So,
thank you so much, Joseph. Love to Nina. Peace and blessings, everyone.